Hi, my name is Sukriti Ghosh, and the topic of this presentation is mountaintop mining. So to begin, I just want to give some context on what regions we're going to discuss. This is a map of the areas where mountaintop mining occurs, basically in the Appalachian Mountains, which is in the northern part of the U.S., or the north part of North America, but we're talking about the U.S., so we're talking about the regions of eastern Kentucky, southern West Virginia, and eastern Tennessee, as you can see on this map, which is on the Appalachian Voices website. So in doing research on the Appalachian Voices website and my own individual research in my scholarly sources, I found that mountaintop mining has effects across three pillars of sustainability. For the environmental pillar, I found that deforestation was one of the detrimental effects of mountaintop mining. To clear land before coal extraction, deforestation has to occur, which we all know is detrimental to the environment. Water contamination also occurs in the form of valley fills, which are the debris that comes from coal extraction. That debris gets put into nearby valleys, thus the name valley fill, and into the water. So in one of my scholarly sources, I found that the conductivity of this water is increased about 2 to 10 times that of a normal river, and stream burial also occurs. So about 3,200 kilometers of river can be buried by the valley fills, which obviously inhibits water access. This is also a threat to biodiversity. About 10% of salamander and mussel diversity are in this region, so these are some of the species that contribute to biodiversity but are affected by mountaintop mining. So this is a figure from one of my scholarly sources. It shows the biodiversity of species in regions across the U.S., and it can be seen here much of biodiversity is centered around areas where mountaintop mining occurs. So this is the map shows the highlighted regions seems to be around what we saw in the map on the second slide. In the top right is a picture of a salamander, which is one of the species that's affected by mountaintop mining. So in terms of social implications, the health impacts on society are extremely detrimental. There's cancers, lung cancer in particular, cardiovascular disease, and heart attacks that are all prevalent in these regions, more so in these regions than other regions because of mountaintop mining. One of my scholarly sources was a 2011 study that employed a survey to people in mining communities to self-rate their health. These surveys showed that the people in these communities self-rated their health as very low. They had a numerous amount of poor physical and mental health days. And the study also showed that these people were more prone to depression and psychological distress. Also, this mountaintop mining creates a threat to residents of things like flooding, flying rocks from blasting of the coal extraction, and potential impoundment explosion, all threaten to displace mining communities. In terms of the economic pillar, one big thing I found in all of the sources that I saw was the need for economic diversification in these communities. A lot of these regions are extremely coal dependent, so their economies are coal dependent, and there is a great need for diversification. Obviously, this is entangled in policy because a lot of coal companies and federal agencies don't want to give up coal because it's a cheap energy source, but so now we know that this is a complicated issue. So in my analysis, I wasn't really too surprised by my findings. Mountaintop mining seems to be extremely a natural process, and usually unnatural processes have a lot of detrimental effects, as we see from all the findings. So the take-home message here is that mountaintop mining is extremely detrimental to sustainable development. My perception throughout my research and my scholarly sources in the Appalachian Voices website is changed. Now I'm more aware of coal extraction and the processes behind it, and especially in mountaintop mining. So now when I think back to electricity use, I'll be able to think back to coal and mountaintop mining and remember its detrimental effects. I'm not really sure what I can do behaviorally. I feel like this issue requires involvement at a higher scale, like state and governmental policies are probably what can make the most change in these issues. But what I could do as an individual, I think, is just try to save as much energy as possible. So do things like turn off the lights more often. It's something simple, but I think it could, if everybody does it, make some kind of change in saving energy and thus having less requirement of processes like mountaintop mining. So as a conclusion, my future recommendations would first and foremost include new policies. So federal and state agencies are the ones, like I said, that can really make a change because they are at a higher scale. So they can do more to establish policies that inhibit processes like mountaintop mining, and especially those agencies that are listed on the Appalachian Voices website that are in charge of regulating coal extraction processes. Also, there could be more transparency from power plant companies. They could possibly give customers more clear labels, more specific labels about their coal consumption and then maybe how much coal they use if possible. So things like that, just so customers can be more aware of their coal consumption. And maybe even possible community educational programs could be employed, just so the community at large can know what more about their coal consumption, and so that they don't have to rely on outside sources such as companies who may be not as inclined to give that information out. To these to the customers, so the customers can have their own source of information.